You will attract your love once you choose you, not when you try harder, not when you become more pleasing, but when you stop leaving yourself behind. Most people believe attraction is something you do. In truth, attraction is something you become. When you choose yourself, something subtle shifts. Your energy stops reaching outward, asking to be chosen. It settles inward, and that inner stillness is what people feel as magnetic. Philosophy has always known this. Aristotle believed love could only exist between those who possessed self-respect. Without self-respect, desire turns into dependency, and dependency is never attractive. It carries urgency, fear, and quiet negotiation. The Stoics taught that the most compelling presence is inner order. A person governed from within does not chase what lies outside. They are steady. They are grounded. They do not rush toward what is uncertain. This inner order is the foundation of magnetism. Psychology reaches the same truth through observation. Carl Jung noticed that when we abandon parts of ourselves, we unconsciously ask others to carry them for us. This creates intensity, obsession, emotional volatility. But intensity is not attraction. It is anxiety dressed up as passion. True attraction feels calm. It feels safe. It feels strangely familiar. Attachment theory explains why. When you are anxiously attached, your nervous system scans constantly for reassurance. Your attention leaks outward. You wait for messages. You read tone. You overanalyze silence. Your energy is dispersed. But when you choose yourself, your nervous system settles. You stop broadcasting need. And what replaces need is presence. Presence is magnetic. This is why chasing love pushes it away. Chasing says, I am not enough here. I need you to complete something in me. And wholeness does not respond to lack. It recognizes wholeness. Being magnetic is not about pretending you do not care. It is about caring without collapsing. So how do you actually become magnetic in daily life? You begin by reclaiming your attention. Notice where your attention goes when uncertainty appears. Does it rush to your phone, to their behavior, to imagined futures and feared endings? Magnetic people bring attention back to themselves. They ask different questions. Instead of why are they pulling away, they ask where am I abandoning myself? Instead of how do I keep them, they ask how do I stay aligned with who I am? Alignment is invisible, but it is immediately felt. Friedrich Nietzsche spoke of becoming who you are, not who is rewarded. Magnetism appears the moment you stop performing, when your actions match your values, when your yes and no become clean. Nothing is more attractive than coherence. Psychologically, coherence creates safety. Self-determination theory shows that humans are drawn to autonomy. Autonomy means you choose instead of react. You respond from values, not fear. Fear repels, but choice attracts. So here is a practical shift. Slow your responses, not to manipulate, not to test, but to allow your body to settle before you speak. When you pause, your nervous system has time to regulate. And a regulated nervous system is magnetic. People feel calmer simply being near someone who is not rushing, grasping, or reacting from fear. Psychology is very clear about this. People with a stable sense of self-worth tend to set healthier boundaries, communicate more clearly, and leave situations that are chronically harmful. They tolerate being alone rather than tolerating constant disrespect. They are less vulnerable to love bombing, emotional manipulation, or the dramatic highs and lows of unstable relationships because they are not emotionally starving. When you choose yourself, your nervous system learns a new definition of safety. Safety is no longer not being left. Safety becomes not leaving yourself. Second, build a life that does not pause for potential love. Keep your routines, your creativity, your movement, your growth. When your life feels full, love is invited in, not begged for. You are no longer waiting for someone to arrive before you allow yourself to live. This fullness subtly changes everything. Your posture becomes more grounded, your voice steadier, your eye contact more relaxed. You stop leaning forward energetically, hoping to be chosen, and that shift alone is deeply attractive. From an attachment perspective, this is the movement toward security. You can depend on others, but you can also depend on yourself. You no longer collapse into panic when someone pulls away, nor do you withdraw to protect your pride. You stay present. Third, speak truth without over-explaining. Magnetic people do not convince. They state. They express needs without pleading. They set boundaries without punishment. They walk away without drama. This is not coldness. It is self-respect. Freedom is attractive because it signals inner stability. It says, I choose you, but I do not abandon myself to keep you. When people do not choose themselves, a predictable pattern appears. They ignore early red flags out of fear of losing the connection. They over-explain, over-give, and over-understand, hoping that enough effort will finally make the other person see their value. They tolerate inconsistency, broken promises, and emotional distance, then blame themselves for asking for too much when all they want is basic respect. Without self-love, you do not attract healthy love. You attract mirrors of your unhealed wounds. Choosing yourself breaks this cycle, and it can feel terrifying at first. It means you're willing to lose the relationship rather than lose your self-respect again. It means you allow yourself to feel discomfort, loneliness, even grief, instead of running back to what hurts simply because it is familiar. This is the turning point where you choose authenticity over attachment. It may feel lonelier at first, but nothing is lonelier than being surrounded by people while abandoning yourself every day. When this shift happens, your energy changes. You are no longer seeking love as a substitute for what you lack. You are protecting your wholeness. From that wholeness, you become far more discerning about who gets access to you. In real life, this shift often looks surprisingly quiet. Imagine someone who always stayed too long in relationships. They overfunction emotionally, constantly checking in, forgiving repeated disrespect, shrinking their needs to keep the peace. Each time they end up drained, anxious, and resentful. Then something clicks. They realize the common denominator was not that everyone else was the problem, but that they had been repeatedly abandoning themselves. This time they do something different. They set a clear boundary around consistency and respect. When it is crossed repeatedly, they do not argue or over-explain. They withdraw their energy. They pause. They observe, not to manipulate, not to test, but to stay aligned with their own worth. This shift has psychological effects on others. When constant pursuit stops, people are forced to confront the possibility of loss. Some rise to the occasion and grow. Some do not. But either way, the most important choice has already been made. They chose themselves. Self-love also changes who you are even attracted to. When you do not value yourself, emotional unavailability and chaos feel familiar. But when you begin to respect your own boundaries and happiness, drama becomes boring. Inconsistency becomes unattractive. You start feeling drawn to kindness, reliability, and emotional maturity, because those qualities now match how you treat yourself. Another essential part of choosing yourself is boundary setting. Without self-love, boundaries feel like a threat. If I say what I need, they might leave. With self-love, boundaries become a filter. If I say what I need and they leave, they were not my person. Boundaries are not walls. They are doors. They let in what nourishes you and keep out what erodes you. On a deeper level, choosing yourself also means learning to sit in your own company without panic. If you are terrified of being alone, you will tolerate almost anything to avoid it. But when you learn to enjoy your own presence, the urgency softens. You build a life that feels meaningful with or without a partner. And ironically, this is exactly the kind of person who attracts genuine love. Because you are no longer auditioning for worth. You are living from it. Here is the paradox. The moment you no longer need love to feel whole, you become capable of real love. Because now love is not a solution, it is a meeting. Magnetism is quiet. It does not chase. It does not shrink. It does not explain itself. It simply stays rooted. From the outside, people call this confidence. From the inside, it feels like peace. You stop rehearsing conversations. You stop checking signs. You stop reading meaning into silence. And attraction returns to its natural state. Love does not chase chaos. It recognizes inner order. It recognizes someone who knows where they stand. Someone who does not disappear to be desired. Someone who does not betray themselves for connection. This is where philosophy and psychology meet. You do not attract love by becoming more impressive. You attract love by becoming more real. And reality begins when you choose yourself. Let this be your mantra. I choose myself without guilt or fear. I am safe in my own presence. I do not chase love. I allow it to meet me. My nervous system is calm, steady, and regulated. I release urgency and trust my timing. I speak my truth clearly and gently. I honor my boundaries and respect my needs. I am whole, with or without a partner. I attract love that matches my inner order. I am magnetic because I am real. If this video resonates with you, please subscribe to the channel and join the journey of discovering who you truly are.